Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. This is the Manchester United versus Burnley preview, and the Amorim tenure is very much in the rearview mirror, and this will be the first match since his abrupt departure. One that you might have said would have been a writing on the wall. One that you might have said has come out of the blue. But what we do know is Darren Fletcher is now in charge, and this will be his first game as interim. And you've seen all the speculation about the potential managers, or whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will come back into the mix as some sort of caretaker role. You've got Michael Carrick being earmarked as coming in to maybe work alongside Darren Fletcher or take over until summer. But I wanted to address this straight away anyway. All these shortlists that you're seeing for managers, I believe they're just being fabricated or just picked out with potentials by journalists. I don't think they actually have well-sourced information on these, because it does seem as though it's been a little bit of a decision made on the back of a falling out or a deterioration in relationship between Jason Wilcox and Amorim. Not to say that he might have been under pressure internally, but I don't think the plan was to sack him after, well, maybe not before Leeds, because I believe he had a little bit of an altercation with him on Friday. That's what's been widely reported, and it was probably one that was never going to be salvageable. But I think the start of January, I didn't think Ineos had any intention of getting rid of him that soon. So when you're seeing shortlists and all these managers that are being earmarked as potential replacements in the summer, I just think they're just names that have been put out there with journalists hoping that something sticks. If you do like a 6-man shortlist and one gets picked out luckily, then you're going to look like you was ahead of the time then, innit? But then if it's wrong, you can just say, oh, information has changed. So what I've got to think about now is the here and now. I think that's what we've got to do as United fans. I know it's hard not to think about where our future lies, who's going to take over, who's going to try and steer us in the right direction back to being credible top 4 challengers, going towards being a football club that is actually functional and a threat to possibly winning titles and trophies consistently. But for now, we just got to take each game as it comes, and we've got Burnley next, and the pressure has mounted on this fixture a little bit, because we came into this 3-game stint against Wolves, against Leeds and against Burnley thinking that's a possible 9 points. Ellen Road was always going to be difficult. We have players unavailable and injured, so you always had that to contend with. But then you're thinking, if you can get 7 points, maybe that'd be a good return, especially when you've got not Burnley, you've got Arsenal and you've got Man City at the end of January, back to back, and then you've got Brighton in the FA Cup as well, sandwiched before it. You saw those 3 games as a massive opportunity. When there's so much parity, when the league's as tight as it is, you think these points that we're dropping, they could count for a lot by the end of the season. So I know there's been a lot of disruption this week for Manchester United, but tomorrow's a game that we need to capitalise on. And the 2 games before, when we've dropped points, has piled pressure on it. And this is a Burnley team that haven't won in 11 matches, losing 9 of them. There's no bankers in the Premier League. There's no easy fixtures. But with Mount and Bruno earmarked to return as well, probably not in the starting lineup. Obviously, having come in off the back of injuries, and you don't want to start them put too much wear and tear on their muscles when they're not fully healed. You want to make sure that there's no long-term issues, especially when you've got such big games coming at the end of the month, where you probably need them fit and firing, and not to have aggravated the injury by playing substantial minutes at Turf Moor. It still will be good to have them as possible contingency plans on the bench, because I think having Bruno and Mount will be massive, because we know how bad our second halves have been, our game management has been, the question marks around our bench depth and the quality of it. That's why I think it's going to be important to have them two possibly in the fold. Obviously, I'm recording this before the press conference. I won't get time to record it after it. So I'm not quite sure on availability, but there is a possibility before the press conference came out that them two could be in the mix. But I'm not going to put them in my starting lineup as of now anyway, because even if they are available, I don't think they probably will start. And if they end up being ruled out, then I won't be giving you a preview that has them in the starting lineup, making it semi-redundant. But I'm going to get into the starting lineup because we have no idea how Darren Fletcher is going to play. You'd think what would happen is you've had a lot of complexity at Manchester United under Amorim. System, changes, players playing in, being square pegs in round holes, and you're thinking, if you're a caretaker or you're an interim manager, the best thing for you to do at Manchester United right now, with the players at your disposal, is to keep things simple. And a way to do that is to do a back four, play a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, and put players where they can play best and platform them and let their talent and ability do the rest. It's time for us to go back to basics at this club. And we know what the DNA is. People say the DNA has changed, but I think there's been too much confusion and too much cooks in the kitchen. And I think that's a massive factor right now as well under Ineos. But right now, we just got to take each game as it comes until United sort out their long-term future. And that starts off with tomorrow and keeping things simple, sticking to basics, doing the basics well, and United's quality should tell. Because this is a Burnley side that have floundered in the relegation zone, haven't won a game in 11, lost 9 of them. They've got players that can pose you a threat, and United do well to make every game. I'm not going to say a toy and cost, but a flip of the coin, and very 50-50. We need to start eliminating a little bit of that variance. And we'll see whether we get this new manager bounce. But it feels like with all this media carnage and this speculation, having obviously with our manager being sacked, that the Burnley game's almost been forgotten. But the professionals need to lock in and make sure we capitalise properly on a team that aren't in great form. And we definitely need a win after dropping points in our last 2. But the starting lineup I'm going to go with, hoping that Mount and Bruno can be on the bench, is Lemens in goal. I'm going for a back four of Diallo, Aidan Heaven and Martinez. I'm going for Luke Shaw as the left back. I'm going for a midfield pivot of Ugarte and Casemiro. I'm going to go for Cunha on the left. I'm going to go for Sesko up top. I'm actually tempted to go for Lacey right wing debut. You know what I'm thinking? Darren Fletcher managed the 18s. I feel like I don't want Dorgu to start right wing in this game. I'm just become sick and tired of seeing the plethora of defensive players starting, and it makes us a little bit toothless. And it's not the club I know and love. Maybe it's time to try and amplify that little bit of youth courage and success and start what is meant to be one of our better talents that there's been in recent times. And the best way to find out if he's ready is to play him. Because I was thinking Xerxes in the 10, behind just off Sesko, Cunha left wing and Lacey on the right. And if it doesn't work, we're struggling defensively, or Lacey has a tough time of it, then you've got Bruno and Mason Mount on the bench to come on and change things. But I want us to go for it. And that's not starting Jack Fletcher as well, to have 3 midfielders in there and Darren Fletcher to get nepotism accusations. I just want to see us go for it tomorrow. That might be more hopeful than you'd probably like. Might be a little bit too adventurous. But I think tomorrow, in a game where Burnley probably will surrender possession and the onus will be on us to carve them open, I think we need more attacking players on the pitch than we've been fielding lately. And I think that's the way to do it. So that's the lineup I've actually gone with. As for Burnley, they've got championship level players skittled in with the likes of Yuga Chukwu and Marcus Edwards. They've got a powerful side as well, which obviously will make them a little bit of a difficult proposition against set pieces. I think they've got Broa playing up front for them as well. 12 league goal Fleming for them last season, did well. Not quite showing his availability, but he could definitely be a threat. And it's just the same for any team you play. You've got to be solid at the back, build our foundation on clean sheets, which has been something that hasn't happened this season with Amorim. And that's why it's been so difficult to win games and we've drawn so many. It's because whenever you concede, you're always giving yourself... Then you need... It's basic maths, it's simplicity. If you concede a goal, you're going to need 2 goals to win. And United have scored in a lot of games and had a lot of scored draws because we can't keep clean sheets. And I think that's where it needs to start. But you need to get the balance right between being defensively solid, but actually threatening the other team, getting a result, and getting wins and going for it. Because that's what I want to see at this club. So remember to like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back here for the review tomorrow. There's going to be mad speculation next 24 hours. I want to see what goes on, obviously, with managerially, candidates, how we're going to set up, what Darren Fletcher's first press conference is going to be like. But for now, that is a team we're going to go for. United need to turn up. Forget about Amorim and the carnage that's going on behind the scenes. There's an opportunity here for United to try and get Champions League football. And that starts tomorrow. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Roll to 10k. Hype the video as well. And I will see you next time.